highlights channel of the Ranveer Show. This is TRS Clips. Border has had such a huge impact on my life, especially that scene where you're lying down in the sand and it's your introductory scene. Enacted when I was a kid. Sande Se Aate Hain was sung all the time in my own head, probably till I was like a teenager. I have come to realize after talking to people from the film industry that for culturally impactful films like Border or Kantara or Hera Fairy, there's always a subliminal energy that makes that film happen. For example, with Kantara, you know that subject matter had to come out in the public eye. I strongly believe that when it comes to Border, it was the energy of the 1971 war that made that film. Because a whole generation of Indians got inspiration from the Indian military because of Border. What was that film like when you all were shooting it? You all realized what an important film that would become?
Absolutely. And a funny story with that, because JPG came to me and I had heard a lot of stories about JP Datta कि यार गुस्सा हो जाते, गाली देते एक्टरों को, तो मैंने ना ही बोल दी थी. उन्हें subject सुना, I respected him because you needed to, and then I said no. So he couldn't understand why I had said no.
For that role.
For that role and for that character. And then that struggle went on for 2-3 months, and he was hell-bent on me for that character. He got to Bharat Shah, and who lived in my mother-in-law's building, went to my mother-in-law. They spoke to my mother-in-law. It was my mother-in-law who convinced me to do Border. And I told mom one thing. I said, Mom, he's hot-headed. He might say things. I'm hot-headed and I might use my arm for certain things. So I don't want to have a bash-up with JP Datta and beat him up on the set.
Has that ever happened?
No. It's happened a few times, on set, but outside when we were troubled. But I said that, and she told JP that, and we had a meeting. And JP said, you know what? I only get upset when people don't give 100%. And after that, after working with JP in Border, I realized that he's a man who's in love with the Indian forces. And otherwise, he would have been a commercial director, would have done 100 films because there are 100 producers chasing him. But he only did something that he believed in. So that was a life lesson from a man like that. And I'm glad I did Border because the energy of Border was the armed forces and uniform, not necessarily in the order of Army, Navy, Air Force, BSF, whatever. It was just so many people that had sacrificed their life and nothing had been done about it because those films are tough to make.
Yeah. I'm also going to represent the military here, and we've had a lot of guests from the military. Okay. Yeah. Some of them are grateful to the film industry for creating Border, LOC Kargil, these films. And some of them are not okay with some of the details in those films because it's not an exact representation of the military. All in all, I think these films have been very good for the military in terms of inspiring younger kids to actually be a part of it. Like when you see Suniel Shetty running into that battlefield, you feel like being a soldier in life yourself. I mean, as a 4-year-old, that's the emotion I felt. And then eventually in life, maybe through podcasts, you learn about the details of the military and all that. But it's very impactful for the military's branding. That's what I believe.
Absolute. For the forces, yes, for sure.
We need to see more
We
films.
need to. And, I'm glad that Uri and the government is also encouraging it. The army now has thrown everything open. Saying, you send us the script, we believe in it, we will push it all the way. They give you the infrastructure, they give you the technical know-how, they have their people on set controlling it. I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad this is happening, and more needs to be done. Even the police force. See, we're always abusing what they're doing, not realizing they're working 20 hours a day, and still serving you. And still Mumbai or Maharashtra is one of the safest places in the world to be. When you're cribbing about London now, today watch nahi pehen sakte, joote nahi pehen sakte, kapde nahi pehen sakte. India is absolutely safe and secure. Yeah? It's because of the forces.
Did that particular character change you? For me, there are 3 characters that stick out from your whole career, but I'm speaking as a film fan here. Okay. The first one is Hera Fairy. The second one, strangely, is Deewane Hue Pagal. Like, that was the one which culturally came up, where you're limping and all that. That's a meme on the internet.
Yeah.
But the third and most impactful one is Border. I feel it kind of defines your career a little bit.
Of course. Definitely
look at it
does,
that way?
because playing a real life hero for a real life hero is very, very tough, because you don't know whether you could ever justify that. Because just creating that atmosphere of the battlefield, and when the tanks actually came in, I mean, Mother Earth was shaken. Yeah, 4 tanks coming in, and dark clouds, war clouds is what you realize is that. Ki, how does a young man even survive that kind of atmosphere? Hats off to them. The pain that they go through, the conditions that they work under, because we were shooting with the real army. We were 5 or 6 actors, and then it was the army and me as the BSF. So magical. I think that I always respected the uniform. It's, and I always felt, yaar, America में कैसे होता है, यूनिफॉर्म में आते तो लोग तालियां बजाते हैं, लेकिन बॉर्डर के बाद वो सब शुरू हुआ, उरी के बाद वो और भी एनहांस हुआ. आजकल के बच्चे जो आप लोग हो, you guys, you make it clear that pets mean the world to us. The army means the world to us. We need to respect. So suddenly you guys have straightened everyone. So that's the good side of social media. That's bringing the human side of it. Because for you, what matters is now, and honesty. So I'm glad.
On a personal level, I'm obsessed with the Indian military since I was a kid, but it began with Sandesh se aate hain.
No, and let me tell you, we went on the set. JP and me had become friends by then. So he said, come, Sunil, I want you to hear something. And for me, he's my guru today. Master craftsman, a phenomenal human being. The Sandesh song was played. He says, Sunil, you want to check it out? Check the song. I said, sir, put the song on. When the song was done, everybody was in their corner and in absolute tears. From men, they were suddenly boys. They were sons, they were husbands, they were brothers, they were son-in-laws, and in absolute tears. Most vulnerable lot ever. But their focus is, sir, desh ke liye jaan dena hai. When I say desh ke liye jaan dena hai, it cuts me to me having had the pleasure of going to Kargil when war was on. Before they had called truce and shelling was going on, and I went to the military hospital there and I saw young boys here. And I remember this one Sikh boy who had no arm, and his father was standing there, and they said, they introduced me, and he says, my son would like to see you. And they woke him up. He was drowsy because he had lost his arm, and surgery was done. He was coming out of it, and he looked at me, and he was in a state of shock, and he looked at me and he says, Bhairav Singh. And he says, Saab. And he started abusing. माँ की बहन की गालियाँ दे रहा था. बोलते सर मेरे को जाने नहीं दे रहे सर वापस. मैं उनको सबको ख़त्म करके आता हूँ सर. And he didn't have an arm. And I howled. And that father took me out, and the mother came, and they were consoling me, having already lost 2 kids in the army before. And this is a 3rd child who had lost his arm. And he says, nahi sir, ye desh ke liye to hai hamare bacche. So how do we not respect, show affection, or it's insane what they go through. And I saw that with 50 kids who were there, all willing to go back and climbing Kargil with a backpack that weighed as much as them, because that's their only thing, at a vulnerable point, because they were sitting on top and they were climbing up. That's when I think the world realized that the Indian army is the most powerful army in the world. Yeah. Because the only thing they used to say is, kuch bhi bolo to bolte sir, lekin desh ke liye jaan de denge sir. And jaan dena was something that was ठीक है यार, इसीलिए तो हम हैं और हम हर चीज के बारे में सोचते हैं. It's insane. My experiences with the army, and that's why when you go CISF and border, each one has their role, and they're doing it beautifully in layers. Whether it's the police, it's the CISF, guarding every damn vantage point of your country, saving all of us, whether it's the airports, it's this, then the BSF and the border, the army, the navy, the air force. I mean, I can go on and on and on about them. And Suniel Shetty has the respect and will be remembered for generations together on 26 January and August 15th. thanks to Bhairav Singh and Border. You know, everything else will be forgotten, but this film will not allow anybody to forget you, and it's because of Border. You know, what did you go through? I mean,
with speaking of the military,
yeah,
we've done a bunch of episodes, and I think a lot of those guys have seen so much that they've waited to come on a public platform and just speak about what they have seen, be it dealing with wild animals, be it dealing with losing teammates. I think that's the biggest kind of raw wound for all of them. Like, I've seen the toughest guys, they're talking about eating snakes, they're talking about doing very difficult missions, killing terrorists. But the moment you bring up one of their brothers, they break down on the show. So many guys have broken down on the show.
No, and the BSF at the borders, Run of Kutch. Single man standing there and nothing. No sense of direction. You go 1 kilometer inside and you don't know north, south, east, west. You are lost. That one man is standing there waiting for lunch to come. Somebody replace. And I've seen that everywhere. You know, I work very closely with the BSF also. And I've seen them everywhere. So even now when I went to Amritsar and I went to the border and stuff like that, the lives these men lead, their families.
The one kind of overall learning from the show has been, and not just the show, all the episodes, has been life is definitely decided by circumstance. All famous people are picked out souls, are cherry-picked souls to a certain degree. There's been too many circumstances in their life to make them famous. But the other cherry-picked souls are the military souls. There is a very different kind of mind in those skulls, and those people were meant to serve our country, were meant to serve.
But then we are blessed to have them. We are blessed, absolutely blessed to have them. And each one thinks like this. And not that they're living life king size. You know, it's the basics that's being provided to them. And that's why, you know, when you say Army, Navy, Air Force spends mental health, and there are oppositions that are, there political parties that are fighting, you wonder. They're the men who are doing everything, and you're fighting for what?
I think our whole generation, my people my age, people our age, everyone's starting to celebrate the military much more. That's all we can do as citizens. Talk about it more on platforms like this. So I think even just by talking, someone like you speaking about it will create a buzz.
No, and it's given, for me personally also, it's given me my everything. Suniel Shetty is known as Bhairav Singh, ye dharti meri maa hai. You make memes, you do anything you want to. But you have to do it because if you want to be seen, it's about that dharti, it's about the character.
So these are playlists made especially for you. We've tailor-made learning experiences for you in the RS Clips.